what's up, you guys? It's Caboose bringing you another Venom Let There Be Carnage video, and today what I got for you guys here is going to be an explanation of the ending for the movie as well as the post-credit scene. So of course, spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Before we jump into everything, I wanted to ask you guys, of course, if at any point you enjoyed the video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the video at any point, leaving a like rating would be awesome. Also, if you're new here and you want to keep up to date on upcoming Marvel movies or anything of that sort, well then I got you covered. I'll be making videos on all the news and updates, reacting to upcoming trailers, putting out more topic videos, and reviewing some of these upcoming films, so you can look forward to that. If it sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be immediately notified when a video goes live. Lastly, reminding you guys again, the Venom Let There Be Carnage G Fuel is available now. You can get your hands on the black ooze or the red ooze flavors or those collector's boxes. Just make sure if you get anything from G Fuel, you use code Caboose at checkout. The link is in the description. With all that being said, let's get into this. Spoiler warning, once again, you have been warned. I'm going to count down from 3, okay? 3, 2, 1. Either you're sticking around because you've seen Venom Let There Be Carnage, or you don't mind being spoiled for the movie. Let's jump in and talk now about the ending of the film, as quite a bit of implications are provided here regarding what we could see in future Venom movies. The big thing is the post-credit scene. We'll get to that in a moment, but some stuff happens in the ending of the movie that I do want to talk about. So of course we see that there's that massive fight between Venom and Carnage in the cathedral. Shriek is involved as well, and she actually becomes the main reason why we find out that Cletus and Carnage are not symbiotic, and it is what allows Venom to defeat them. During all this though, we know that Patrick Mulligan has been kidnapped and is at the cathedral, and while Shriek is trying to kill him to get revenge after what he did to her during the beginning of the film, shooting her eye out and pretty much getting her into the position that she was in for the majority of the events in the film. And for those who may be unaware, Patrick Mulligan in the comic books is actually the character that is the host of Toxin, which is known as one of the more powerful symbiotes in the Marvel universe. From what I understand, Toxin is an offspring of Carnage, so quite the family lineage for Venom there. You know, Carnage becomes an offspring from Venom, and then Toxin becomes an offspring from Carnage. And we can see right at the end there that after having been kidnapped and beat up by Carnage, and then following that getting beat up by Shriek, Officer Mulligan is still alive. He's left on the raft at the cathedral, and we see his eyes glow as he says something under the lines of "crazy little monsters." Clearly, in the tone of his voice and in the look in his eyes, he's kind of lost it, and he's been through a lot in this movie, and we could already tell that he was a little unhinged and kind of off the rails, has a very short temper. So it's safe to assume that where we leave that character is with a setup of him potentially having the Carnage symbiote in him, which will create the offspring of Toxin. Now, is it going to be Toxin that we're going to see Venom facing off in a third Venom film? Well, maybe, and I have a bit of a theory about that, but now I want to jump in first and talk about the post-credit scene before I give you guys some of my theories about what we could expect from future Venom or Spider-Man films. That's right, that post-credit scene was a massive, crazy implications there, and it sets up the next big wave of either Sony Marvel films or just in general MCU films featuring Spider-Man. Of course, after the events of the main film, Eddie is on the run. He's at some remote location, hidden away, talking to Venom as they're watching TV, and it's actually taking place during the late hours of the night, which is really important to what happens next. Venom offers to Eddie to show him just a fraction of what's happened to the symbiote race, and while it's about to happen, we see a yellow light shine through the outside, and then all of a sudden, it's the bright early morning, and Venom, Eddie, is in a completely different location. Eddie gets up off the bed, and we can see a news report is playing on the TV, and it's J.K. Simmons, none other than J. Jonah Jameson, of course, with the Daily Bugle, is reporting the reveal of the identity of Spider-Man, which we saw at the events at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. And we can see it's clearly Tom Holland's Spider-Man unmasked at that same subway station where we left off at the end of Far From Home, and where we will lead in to Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Venom licks the screen and says, "That guy looks tasty." Now, clearly all of this is happening due to the multiverse being cracked open. Now, whether or not that is because of the events of the Loki TV series on Disney Plus, or because of what happened with that spell that Doctor Strange has cast in Spider-Man No Way Home. We're not entirely sure just yet. Some would suggest, considering the news report that Eddie was watching was when Spider-Man's identity was just revealed, that it might actually be because of what Sylvie does in the TV series Loki, when we see that the multiverse is just beginning to crack open. But the safe assumption is that it's just a rerun of that news report of Spider-Man's identity being revealed, and we've already come to the point of Peter trying to erase his identity from the world, and Doctor Strange tries to cast that spell, which breaks open the multiverse. Now, that might be hard to piece together in terms of a timeline of events, but what I assume happened here is that not only was Eddie transported to the MCU through the multiverse, but he was also transported back in time to the specific moment when Peter's identity is revealed. Because clearly we can tell in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer and the way that it's trying to present everything that Peter went to Doctor Strange after quite a while of his identity being revealed to the public. You know, it was the winter time, the Sanctum Sanctorum was snowed in, and that's when Peter went to go talk to Doctor Strange. So maybe what's happened here is that spell has cracked open the multiverse and sent Venom into the MCU, but back in time to the exact moment when Peter's identity was revealed from the events of Spider-Man Far From Home. But what does this all mean? What does it imply for the next Venom film, for Spider-Man No Way Home in December? Well, let's break that down. I will say, first and foremost, I don't think we're going to see Venom in Spider-Man No Way Home, and if we do, it's probably going to be a post-credit scene that's going to end up setting up a third Venom film. Because mark my words, I'm already calling it right now, Venom 3 is going to be titled something under the lines of Venom versus Spider-Man, or Spider-Man versus Venom. They're going to bring those characters together, and those characters are going to clash, but all the same with what we saw in a film like Batman v Superman, or Godzilla versus Kong, they're going to end up teaming up to face off against a bigger threat, and what I am going to speculate is that bigger threat will end up being none other than Toxin. And in most ways, this really excites me, but in one way, I am very disappointed. I'll tell you why I'm excited, mainly because, well, we're gonna probably see Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, face off against Tom Hardy's Venom, and that's a really exciting thing to look forward to. You know, one of my biggest complaints is that Venom is an anti-hero in these movies, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like Venom when he's a villain, and potentially getting that out of Tom Hardy's Venom would be awesome. I really love Tom Hardy's performance as the character, and I would love to see Venom unleashed and be the bad guy. But at the same time, I do suspect that they're going to go the route of having there be a bigger threat where Spider-Man and Venom have to team up to take that bigger threat down, and it also most likely means that we're not going to see the Black Suit Spider-Man storyline take place at any point within these Marvel films. And if they were to do that, well, then everything would be backwards. You can't really give the symbiote to Peter without having the symbiote be on Peter first and then transfer to Eddie Brock to become Venom. I'm not sure how they would plan to do it the other way around and what exact storyline they would end up telling that way, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Another outcome here could just be that the third film is Venom facing off against Toxin, and then that sets up a Venom versus Spider-Man film in which somehow, some way during the events of this third Venom movie, Venom just becomes a full-on bad guy. I think for me, best case scenario ends up being that there's just a Venom versus Spider-Man, and throughout the entire movie, Venom's the villain and Spider-Man's the hero, and Spider-Man has to take him down, and then we see the repercussions of that going forward, but I'm not sure that's gonna happen. And with that said, I now want to kick it to you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about that ending, and what do you think about that post-credit scene? What do you feel it's going to set up? What are you looking forward to? What are you not looking forward to? Sound off in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are going to be in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.